90-60 over Wisconsin. They are now 10-0. And because they're 10-0, that means that's their first 10-0 start since 1977, 1978. So obviously, just a blistering, historic start for Fred Hoiberg. Matt, when you watch this team, when you see the way they're doing this, what they're 23 in the country, obviously. What are we to make of this Nebraska team 10 games into the year?
The mayor, Fred Hoiberg.
That's
go
right.
back to when he was at Iowa State. Before, he decided to take the Chicago Bulls job and what he was doing at Iowa State. Georges Niang, when he had that whole group, and, how they played on the offensive end of the floor and the spacing that they had and the ball movement and everything. It's just taking some time. And that's what fans don't realize sometimes is it may take some time to instill your culture, to get a program to the level that your fan base wants it to be. 20 assists tonight. 20 assists. The ball is hopping around, and he has a team that is going to be able to compete for championships. And it's really impressive. Talk about a guy that never seems to lose his mind on the sidelines, never seems to get too high, get too low. So it's exciting. It's fun to watch. And if you're a Nebraska fan, it's Fred Hoiberg. He's the mayor, man. It looks like his teams when he was at Iowa State.
Well, that's perfect because he's here. Fred Hoiberg, Nebraska ball head coach, owner of a 10-0 start, first 10-0 start since 1977, 1978. Coach, just welcome to the show. How does it feel to be 10-0 and to be off to this start so far this season?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, guys. I'm really proud of the guys for how they came out of the gate tonight. And, this is a really powerful Wisconsin team that was averaging almost 87 points per game. And, after the first couple possessions, I didn't think we were sharp out of the gate on the defensive end. We really got it going and held that team to 34% from the field. So, once we got our hands active and got some deflections, then that got us out in transition. I thought our pace was really good. Jamarcus Lawrence really set the tone for us. We didn't want to go in there and challenge their bigs with the way they collapse in the paint. And I thought he made the right plays to get our shooters open shots. And the biggest thing, when you look at the points in the paint, not very often you outscore Wisconsin by 20 in that category, but we scored 44 points in the paint tonight. I really thought we attacked and got downhill. And whether we got a play at the basket or sprayed it out, I thought our decision-making was on point, and that showed with the 20 assists that we had.
Coach, go back to your time at Iowa State. We were just talking about it. And, when you had some of those teams that were so unselfish and the ball was hopping around and moving, is that your identity of your team? Is that how you want this Nebraska team to play? Is unselfish, high assists, 20-plus assists tonight?
It's been a really unselfish group of guys, and, we're taking care of the ball as well. And, the thing that I've been impressed with this group, we're playing with a lot of pace, and we're taking care of the basketball. And obviously that's important when you're trying to get out and play fast. But again, when we get out and our running habits are on point, when we get to the corners and we get the ball to our playmakers, whether it's Jamarcus or Rink Mast, who led us in assists 2 years ago, you just see how important he is. I guess when you compare, looking back at the Iowa State teams, it kind of started with Royce White when we started with the 5-out spread offense, and then it went to Georges Niang. And, we had Derek Walker here a couple years ago, and then Rink has been the guy that has initiated our offense a lot. And that's the key to this system, is when you have a guy that can shoot, pass, and dribble that, that plays the 5 spot for you. And that just opens up things for everybody. That's a big reason why we are scoring it in the paint right now, because we have a 5-man that can knock down shots.
Hey, Coach, it's really fun to watch your team play tonight, and I think a big reason for it was they played with a lot of energy. The crowd was really into it. Environment was electric. But also, when I looked at your roster, you have a lot of veteran players, especially Rink, who's a 7th-year senior. How important do you think that is to have a quality team?
I think it's really important, and that's one of the keys I think right now is trying to stay old, and not only with Rink, but we've got guys that came back that really know their roles. That's the thing about this team, is they've really accepted the roles with Sam, with Cale Jacobson, with Jamarcus, with all those guys, they don't care at the end of the game what their stats are. Jamarcus Lawrence had 5 points tonight, and I'd argue he was one of the players of the game. It was good to see Burke Buchtengel get it going and make a couple threes from the outside. I thought his defensive energy was off the charts tonight. And then Braden Frager, who's been terrific as a freshman for us, coming off the bench as a scoring punch. So, it's just really been a group of guys that, all they care about at the end of the day is the win. And when you have a group like that, shows up every day, you don't ever have to worry about distractions, that puts you a step ahead.
Fred, obviously 2 years ago, you make the NCAA tournament. I was there. I actually live in Memphis, and I was amazed by how damn loud that your fans had the forum. Like it feels like everybody from the state of Nebraska came down to Memphis for that one. But you make the tournament 2 years, 2 years ago. You win the crown last year. I know, the job is never done, and even at 10-0, obviously, there's a goal. It's to stamp this and to make the NCAA tournament. But is there any sense of like, hey, we're building this, it's happening, as we speak? Can you just speak to, the process and the fact that you're getting the results right now?
Well, first of all, let me speak on the fans because, there's no doubt about it. Our fans are unbelievable. You saw in the Creighton game on Sunday, they, start to finish, they were on their feet. And then I thought that carried over into tonight's game as well. And they appreciate this team. I do think it's an easy team to root for because their unselfishness, how hard they play, getting on the floor, and, the way they pass the ball. So, we really appreciate everything we got going. And then, as far as accomplishment, this business, I mean, when we get out of this building, it's on to Illinois. And, they gave us a tough week. We played Creighton Sunday, had a quick turnaround to play Wisconsin today. And then we got an early game against Illinois on Saturday. So we got to get back to work. We're going to be in the film room at 10:30 tomorrow and on the court putting a game plan together. And then hopefully continue to play well because this is going to be our first true road environment. And it's one of the best in the league.
Coach, you bring up Illinois, and obviously in the league, last year we saw a historic year in the SEC. What's your overall perception of the league this season? I mean, you've been in the Big 12, now the Big 10, and seeing what's going on and how talented this league is. What's your overall perception of the league?
Yeah, what I've always done as a coach is I stay focused on the next opponent. So, obviously you're keeping an eye on everything. You watch non-conference games, and I think the depth of our league is as good as any. And, you see some of most teams right now, there's a couple 2-0, but there's a lot of 1-1 teams in our league. And, the one thing I'll say is you have to protect home court. This is the first time in 7 years we've actually started at home in league play. And now we get to go into a great road environment and see what we're made of. Because, listen, boys win at home. It takes a man to win on the road. And, again, we've got age, we've got experience. We've got guys that are battle tested. They played on the road, but we're going to have to be at our best if we're going to want to have a chance on Saturday.
Coach, appreciate the time. Congrats on the win. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Good luck, Coach.
Hoiberg, owner of
Thanks,
Nebraska's first 10-0 start since 1977-78. Technically, again, we'll have to take this up with, the audience, but they are, if you go back to the crown, they are the owners of the longest winning streak in America.